Hey, hello. Yes, we are live. Hell yeah. About time. Like I said before, can't use my intro, which really sucks because I really enjoyed it and got me hyped up. But for a night gallery and to do this with you, I get hyped plenty, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Like I was just telling you,
Been
when
a
you
long
said
time.
night gallery, I was like, count me in.
Hell yeah, it's been too long, man. That's what I was saying. Hell, let's just try to make this a regular thing. Whatever we can for a while. Like not any particular day of the week, just whenever we can.
Yeah, I'm down, man. Like I said, you got me and you got the pretty much similar taste anyway, so we should work together.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and we always did really good and I always enjoyed it. So fuck, might as well. But I figured I'd at least, it couldn't hurt at least to ask you if you wanted to.
But I
But
think the last, besides the trivia one we did, the last show we did was we did our favorite Clint Eastwood movies that time, and
yeah,
that was fun. That was a fun one.
yeah, that ended up being a pretty popular one too, man. That ended up getting quite a few views actually.
Yeah,
It started out slow, but then it kicked in. At first, it was only doing like 50 or 60, and the next thing you know, I looked at it 400 or 500 or something.
yeah. You never know when the views are going to come in like that.
Yeah, some of the ones I've worked the hardest on won't get shit, but then ones I just put like 5 minutes on will get like 1,000. There's one there's a PJ Souls tribute video where I just put like a collage of pics together. I'll even put a narration in it, just a little bit of music and pics of her. It's like 4 minutes long. It has 155,000 views.
Well, that's cool because in PJ Souls, that was a good one to do. She was big at one point. I mean, Halloween, Rock and Roll High School, Stripes. She
She's one of my
she
favorites.
was yeah, she was very good. And I know she's doing the Comic Cons now. And I know she appeared in the Devil's Rejects, the Rob Zombie film. She had a small part in that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she was always liked her.
Yeah, I want to get if I ever do, there's a couple people I want to get interviews with that are not with us anymore. But I would love to get one with her. I'd love to get one with Nancy Allen, and I'd love to get one with Michael Ironside from Scanners. That's
Oh,
three
I
people
love
that
yeah.
I'd love
I'm a
to.
Michael Ironside fan.
Hell yeah. Well, guys, tonight we're doing a night gallery episode. Anybody who's familiar with night gallery, but I know most people are these days, especially since we're in such horror nostalgia and everything. This is my favorite out of between this and Twilight Zone. This is the one I grew up with more. It'll be season 2, episode 18, and it will be Last Rites for a Dead Druid and The Waiting Room. Load of the stars. Do you want to do it the way that it like the way that they air? Because I do believe The Waiting Room is first, right?
Yeah, how I got it on my DVD. It's The Waiting Room comes on first, and then the second story is the one with Bill Bixby. Was it the Last Rites for a Dead Druid?
That's a weird one. Yours is longer than mine. Sorry about that, but
Oh, only by 5 minutes. I think mine was 27 minutes and
oh,
change, and yours was 22 minutes and change.
they're both really good. They're both really good. Um, for Less Race for a Dead Druid, do you want to read off the cast and everything, or do you want me to, or that's up to you?
Oh, I mean, you can do the cast if you want. I'll do the one for I'll do the one for the waiting rooms. That I love that whole cast.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, do you want to do your review first, or do you want me to do it?
It's your show, man. I go by your rules. You do the picking.
Well, let's go the way that it shows on the on the way that it aired. Then we'll go to the waiting room, and then we'll go Dead Druid.
That sounds good. So this is my favorite episode of the series. I'm a big Western fan. So
Oh,
just like in the Twilight Zone, the grave is my favorite episode. That's a Western theme.
yeah.
The waiting room is my favorite Night Gallery episode. This debuted January 26th, 1972. Was written by Rod Serling himself. And what a cast! You got Steve Forrest. Everybody knows him from SWAT, the TV series. Played Hondo. He's the main character in this. And you got the great Buddy Epson, who played Barnaby Jones
Yeah.
on the Barnaby Jones series, and he played Jed on the Beverly Hillbillies. And he also played Georgie Russell in the Walt Disney Davy Crockett series with Fess Parker. I was always a big Buddy Epson fan, so whenever he's in something, I'm going to watch it.
Played the Tin Man. He almost played the Tin Man, but he was allergic to the makeup.
Yep, and they had to get Jack Haley instead. He almost died. So that's he could have had that could have been a real short career by him, but thank God he made it. Jim Davis, another one I love. Jim Davis is in this. A lot of people know Jim Davis has been in a lot of John Wayne films, but everybody's going to know him later on for playing Jock Ewing on Dallas, JR and Bobby's father. So he was great. He's great on that show. Another one is Albert Sami. He's a great character, Western character. He's been in a lot of stuff. I mean, he's one of those rough, gruff actors. He also worked with Fess Parker on Daniel Boone, a TV series, for a little bit. But he's in a lot of westerns. If you Google him, Albert Sami, he was also in a couple of good Twilight Zone episodes. So he worked with Rod Serling before. So he must have liked his work and brought him back for this episode here.
Yeah, Rod actually died at a young age, man, and lung cancer or something.
Yeah, he was a chain smoker, and I think he had complications during surgery. I think that's what it was. Okay. They should have made a movie on his life because he was actually like a paratrooper in the army, and he was also a boxer, an amateur boxer. So he had an interesting life. We all know he's a great writer.
Well, I did not know that. I did not know that he was a boxer. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And also in this episode is Lex Barker. Now, Lex Barker's been in a lot of westerns. He also played Tarzan in 4 films from 1949 to 1953. Back in the day, he was one of those matinee idols. He was a good-looking guy. All the ladies loved him, and he did a lot of westerns. He was a big, strong guy, so he had a long career. And then of course there's Gilbert Roland. He's a TV and film star. He's a Mexican film star too, and he's one of these guys that every time you saw him in a movie or a show, you knew you were going to get a great performance out of him. He just had that great voice and that great face for it. So he plays the bartender in this episode, and this episode is it's Steve Forrest. He's coming into town, and he sees a body hanging as soon as he gets there. So he just kind of looks it over, and it's like not a big deal. It's just the Wild West. They used to hangings and stuff like that, and it was entertainment back then for them. So he goes into the bar, and he gets a couple of shots of whiskey from Gilbert Roland, and he looks over and he sees a card game going with Jim Davis and Buddy Epson and Albert Sami and Lex Barker, and he doesn't recognize anybody at first, and they all know him, and he's kind of curious how they all know him, and but they all had a past, and he knows them. But the thing is, they're all dead. Like, he knows that he heard the stories of all these guys dying, and he's like, he thinks he has a fever at first, because how can he be sitting there playing cards and talking to these guys if they're all dead? The one guy was shot in the back of the head with a shotgun at close range. Lex Barker's character, Albert Sami, plays this character called Joe Bristol. He got outdrew by a younger gun, and he was killed. Jim Davis was robbing a bank, and he gets shot and killed, escaping, and church bells are ringing. And then Buddy Epson admits that he ends up killing himself because he kept saving the lives of these bad guys only so they can go kill innocent people. So I guess he killed himself because of remorse and guilt. So all these guys are all playing cards, and if you ever see the movie Groundhog Day, this is how it's like a Western horror thriller Groundhog Day, because he's doomed to repeat the same thing over. It's like purgatory. You're doomed to repeat your death at the hour you died. So like they're playing cards and they're talking. Lex Barker gets up first, and he says, like, I know you. I heard you got shot in the back of the head, and you were dead. And then he goes, where you going? And he says he's going outside, and you hear a shot, and he's like, what happened? And he goes, someone just got the back of the head blown off. And then Albert Sami has to get up, and he's talking. He almost has a fight with Steve Forrest's character, Dictor, and they're ready to draw on each other, and he says to him, he says, you got outdrew by a younger gun, and you were a corpse before you hit the ground. And then this clock, every time it goes off, it hits the hour.
Yeah.
And the clock is a character in the episode too. It centers around this clock. Every time it hits
Yeah.
the hour that someone died, they have to go out and relive and get killed
Yeah.
again, which is if you think about it, every day you have to die. That's
Yeah.
it's
Smart
crazy.
decision too, because that's about the only noise you get besides a little bit of talking. It's real quiet in there. It's got a really quiet, weird atmosphere. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's quiet, it's haunting, and all you could do is drink, play cards, have some conversation until it's time to die, and then it's like wash, rinse, and repeat. You got to do the same thing every single day. So
Damn.
Albert Sami's character, he goes out and he gets killed, and then Jim Davis tells his story about how he's robbing a bank, and he tried to make it to the church, and as soon as he stuck his head up, a deputy shot him right between the eyes, and he fell 50 feet to his death.
Damn.
He's dead already, though. So, and then Buddy Epson talks to him, and he starts telling him how he would patch people up and cut the bullets out and send them on their way to kill again. And then he says that he took his own life because of the guilt that he had. But earlier, my favorite line in the episode was when Steve Forrest says, "I have a taste for death and a talent for delivering it." I think that's like one of the coolest lines in any cinema history. I love that line, and he was proud
Yeah.
of being a gunfighter. Anyway, at the end of the episode, when everybody's gone except for Gilbert Rowland, the bartender, and Steve Forrest thinks he's going to leave, and he says, "I'll be seeing you again, Mr. Dichter." And he goes, "No, you won't be seeing me again." He said, "I don't like the drink or the company," and he leaves, and he rides past the body hanging, and he's smiling. He wants to see who it is, so he reaches up and he takes the hood off the guy hanging, and it's him. He's the one that was hung, probably for killing somebody, in a fight. Maybe someone didn't think it was fair, so they must have hung him. And so he runs back into the bar again with no recollection. And there's Gilbert Rowland with the whiskey for him, and they're the guys again. They're all sitting there playing cards. And here we go again. They have to do the same thing every day, and that would be horrible if you think about it. And he seems like the only one that doesn't remember it really. Everybody else does, except for him, maybe because he was the newer one.
Yeah. There's two ways to look at it, man. You can look at it as purgatory. You could also look at it as hell, because that definitely could be some people's hell. And some people look at a certain level of hell is where your worst crime or whatever, or your worst memory or your worst whatever happens over and over and over again. So it can be taken that way too.
Yeah, so some people's idea of hell could be sitting in church all day, and do that every. That would be, for some people that would be torturous.
Yeah, I was never sure which one of the two, whether it was supposed to be purgatory or hell. I guess that's up to you to interpret, basically, because it seemed like it would be one. I mean, getting killed, just dying every day, just like you died, over and over again. Damn.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards purgatory because it's like hell is like as bad as it gets. At least in that place they could gamble and drink and talk over old times, and then they get killed. But I mean, hell is permanent, like constant torture, I guess. I mean, I've been there, but it's permanent torture. So I'm thinking it's purgatory because you're in between heaven and hell, and it's not really great, but maybe it's not as bad as hell.
Yeah, it got to where they were just like routine. You know what I mean? It got to where they would the clock would go off and they would just look at the guy that was next. It's like they just knew. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, like they had just accepted it and they were just doing it and they were just going on about it. It's like you said, like Groundhog Day, they were just going about like robots.
Yeah, it was like they knew the drill. And the doctor, played by Buddy Epson, he was kind of like the leader because he did most of the talking, and he would tell people it's time, and but they picked an outstanding cast for that. I mean, like I'm a TV junkie, classic TV junkie,
Yeah,
and
me
all
too.
those guys were on shows. Like like I said, Buddy Epson was Barnaby Jones in the '70s, a very long running detective series. But they picked so many. And Steve Forrest was on one of my favorite old time shows, SWAT. But they picked an outstanding cast. All these guys were Western regulars. They were
Yeah.
all they all work with the greats. They all either work with John Wayne or Kirk Douglas or Steve McQueen. They all work with the best, and now they put all these guys in this one episode together, and I love the cast, and you can see the talent these guys have. They all got the rugged faces and the rugged voices. So I've been a fan of this episode since I was a kid.
Yeah, they felt like outlaws or cowboys. Like you didn't doubt for a minute. They just had that chiseled chin and that look to them. They wore their hat just right. You know what I mean? It's just you didn't doubt it for a minute.
Yeah, they don't make
You
they don't make those kind of faces anymore, like Jim Davis.
right.
I mean that face it's hardened. Like they've seen some rough times.
James Arness. Yeah.
James Lawson, another guy had that face.
Yep. Yep. You sure did. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. That episode it's got its own atmosphere. It's really weird. It's really creepy. The one after that though. Now this particular episode only has two stories in it. It's the one you just did, and then it's this one, which is Last Rite for a Dead Druid. And I do believe it's Janet Swark is the director, and this is the screenplay written by Alvin Seppensley. And the cast, this got a really good cast too. Let me see, where the fuck did I write it? Oh, there it is. Bill Bixby plays a dude named Bruce. Can you believe that? Because anybody that remembers him in the original Incredible Hulk show in the early '80s, late '70s, early '80s, that was the only show basically that it was Bruce Banner instead of David. So here's another Bruce several years before. Of course, Donna Douglas, everybody knows her as Ellie Mae. She was a fucking sweetheart, and she was hot, and everybody had the thing for her. She had a thing with Elvis, I guess. I guess Elvis crushed her. Got Mr. Bernstein, played by Ned Glass, and you got Jenny, who plays Bruce's wife, played by Carol Lindley, and then you had housekeeper Marta, played by Jenya Brandt. So yeah, let me see here.
I'm glad you mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned Ned Glass, who played Mr. Bernstein. That guy was in so many shows. Get Smart, The Monkees, Bonanza. I mean, you name it, he was on it, and he had one of those great voices and great faces too. Great character actor. I'm glad you mentioned him.
Yeah, he plays the shop, the antique shop, I guess you'd call it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it starts out where he's in there in his antique shop, and Donna Douglas plays a chick named Mildred Vane, and then Jenny, played by Carol Lindley, comes in. They're friends, and they come in, and they're looking around, and they see the statue, and Bubsy, well, Mildred, played by the chicken played Ellie Mae. Okay, Ellie Mae is Mildred, guys. Okay, Mildred elbows Jenny, and she's like, check that out. And she's like, what? And then she looks, and she's like, oh my god. And she said, it looks just like Bruce. You know what I mean? And she won't know how much he wants, and he's just like, man, that thing's been here forever. Nobody's wanted it. And Mildred's like, hey, I'll take it. How much? He thinks about it. I don't want to sell it. Blah, blah. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But if you give me $75 for it, you can have it. She's like, oh, sure. So they take it and they go back back home. And at home is Bruce, of course, played by Bill Bixby. He takes one look at it. He doesn't like it at all. He's not impressed. He's a total dick, is how he came off to me. He just doesn't understand. And they're talking about what was this something about what subject does it remind of? Is what she asked, because he doesn't see that it looks like him, and he's like, that doesn't look like me. But like I said, he's being a jerk. but I mean, you can tell it looks like Bill Bixby, except for with like a beard or just whatever. He's in this position.
Yeah.
Well, later on that night, he's asleep. And he starts having these weird dreams. This statue is basically going around and around his bed and torturing him and shit. Well, he yells and wakes up. He looks over at his wife Jenny and he's like, I don't believe in witchcraft, but I would love to be able to put a spell on Mildred. He's playing like he doesn't like he doesn't like Ellie Mae at all. And then the next morning, he goes out to the yard, which is where the statue was left. It wasn't even in his bedroom where he was seeing it when he was in bed. So we don't know if it's actually in there or not. He looks around and he notices the grass where it looks like someone's been stepping right there. So he's like, So now he's wondering. He thinks I'm going crazy because he don't believe in that shit anyway. Now, after that, Bruce goes to the little shop where Mr. Bernstein is, and he's asking him all about it. And he pretty much tells him that, hey, after they left, someone came and all of a sudden they wanted this rolly disc, and he went to clean it out for the people that wanted it, and he found a book that had shit about that in there, and it's supposed to be like a pre-Druid statue. And like I said, when he's cleaned it out, he finds pictures of it and it talks all about it. Well, Bruce looks at it, and it says basically the sculptor is unknown, but it was done by a Father Baumeister, also known as Bruce the Black. And Bruce the Black, he comes back and tells his wife, Bruce the Black was a sorcerer. He's satanic. He did sacrifices. He sacrificed animals and even people. He was able to turn people into stone when he did his sorcery. Well, right today, his wife goes in, and I think she's going up to, I don't know, she take a shower or some bullshit, take a shit, I don't know. Mildred comes over, and he's still standing in the yard. He's freaked out because he goes over the grill, and this thing's, going all around him and shit. He burns himself on the fucking grill and everything else. And she comes out, but he's still looking at the statue. Like I said, it keeps moving. And he starts talking shit to it. He starts telling it that it's ugly and it has no power. And he keeps insulting this thing, and he tells me he's going to take it back. Well, when Mildred comes in, she starts saying, Bruce the Black guy. And he's like, well, how do you know that? And she's like, it's not no sorcery or nothing, man. I just seen your wife in there. She told me. And he's suspicious about that. Of course, you got to be, I would be suspicious of her too. She just comes off like she's intruding, you know what I mean? Like she's just, fucking with shit. She's one of the people that likes to fly and poke. But, for no reason, he just something possesses him, and he reaches over and kisses Mildred. A long ass kiss. Well, the fire's burning higher and shit while that shit's going on. Well, he stops, and then she ends up liking it, and he snaps out of it. And he's like, "Oh my god," he's like, please don't tell Jenny. And she's like, "Well, that just depends. If you promise to not stop, that you're not going to stop doing that, then I won't tell her." So, now it's going like she wants it now. Well, Bruce is freaking out, he screams at the statue now, and his wife's like, what the fuck? So she comes out, and then she looks at it, and, and she's like, what? Check out its eyes. Well, its eyes look like they're glowing red. So, it's like, this is your, if you had a map and you just made out like a blueprint for a night gallery story, this would be one of them. To me, you know what I mean? It really comes off like a serious night gallery. It's got a little bit of it's got a little bit of the hokey feel in there. Bixby was good at that. You know what I mean? That was part of his charm. But yeah, it's like its eyes are glowing red. He thinks he's seeing shit. Fire, I guess, keeps shooting a fire again, and then he sees like a vision of his grandfather in the fire, and it's laughing at him. He's really freaking out at this point. So for no reason, he reaches over and grabs the cat. And he's gonna, he starts to put the cat in the fucking grill. He's like he's fighting himself while he's putting the cat in there. Housekeeper comes out, she loses her fucking mind. She tells Mildred and Jenny, yeah, he's put the cat in the fire, and they're like, what? And she says, I turned into myself, I quit tomorrow. But she said, Mildred's not saying nothing about him. You know, she's just like, I'll see anything different about him. You know, well, once again, later on that next night, Bruce is in bed again, and he hears a statue telling him to smother his wife so he can have Mildred. That's all you got to do. It only take a minute. It only take a minute or two. Smother her, and you can have her. You know, you want her. You've always wanted her. And he's like, no. Well, he snaps out of it. Um, Finally, stops himself from killing his wife. He came close though. Heaven hell, she would have woke up and that fucking pillow was like an inch from her face because it was right down on top of her. What was your thoughts at this point in it?
In this episode, this was a creepy one because the whole thing with the statue having that dark past to it, and
Right.
anything with possession kind of scares me. You know, I'm a
Especially in
Catholic,
a
and
symbol,
what's that?
especially in a symbol like that, like a statue or a little emblem or just something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even mess around. If something had a reputation of that could possess you, I wouldn't even go near it, because you know, stranger things have happened. So, that kind of stuff makes me nervous. So, yeah, the whole thing, before they bought that statue, he had a regular life. He was kind
Right.
of not the nicest guy in the world, but he wasn't a bad guy
He was
either.
smug. He was smug. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this statue slowly starts to manipulate him and change his whole personality.
Yeah. But now he's a fucking he just says fuck this. I'm just gonna I'm gonna destroy this motherfucker. Well, he goes to destroy it, and all you see is like his flash, and you hear this big racket, and his wife, his wife hears it, and she comes downstairs and she goes look for Bruce, and she goes outside in the backyard where the statue is and where she heard Bruce. Well, she looks at the statue, and now it don't just look like Bruce with a beard and shit. It looks just like her husband, Bruce. She looks down on the ground because she sees a man down there, which I'm assuming she assumed that was her husband to begin with. Uh, well, it turns out that it's Bruce the Black is now on the outside, and her husband is the statue. So she's just like, what the fuck? And now he's alive and he's getting up. Well, it pretty much, that pretty much closes that section out. Now, I'm assuming it's probably the next day. Mildred, Donna Douglas played Ellie Mae. She's at the dealers with the Bruce statue, the husband Bruce statue, and she's trying, trying to pawn it off and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, well, if you bring me the other one too, it'd be worth a lot more. The pair is going to be, a lot more valuable than just one. Well, yeah, he wants that. But she's only offering to sell the Bruce one. The only one she wanted rid of was the one that was the husband, Bruce. Bruce the Black gets to stay there. So pretty much a stolen identity, pretty much possessed the whole thing, got rid of his ass, and he paid for being so smug. And this thing was basically his grandfather, I do believe, something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much how it ends. A perfect night gallery ending too. Those are always my favorite parts of a lot of these and the night galleries is the endings, man. They set the tone. They set the whole vibe for the atmosphere of those kind of endings. And every show, every secret show since then, if they do the show right, they got a good ending like that.
The Night Gallery was a hell of a show, and I don't think a lot of more people should know about the show.
Right.
I know if I ever post it, people go, "Oh, when was that?" I don't remember that. I never heard of it before. And then if I say, "Yeah, it's the same guy did the Twilight Zone, Rod Serling." Oh yeah, I heard of the Twilight Zone,
Right.
but they don't know the Night Gallery. And I mean, I knew the Night Gallery when I was a kid. They used to play it late at night on the. It would play it like on, I think it was WR9. Then it would play a
Mm-hmm.
horror movie after it later on. But some of those episodes, like when I was watching as a kid, you found yourself thinking about it because there was like some really shocking endings that
Yes.
they weren't like feel good episodes, like where yet there was a happy ending, and it was just it was sometimes they were just horrible twisted endings.
Yes. Absolutely, man. There's so many of these that I like, man. They're so good. there's a few like Brenda and Midnight Never Ends. I do believe that is on the same is part of the same episode. I'm not sure there's any more. Hold on, let me get this here and see if we can find out. Um, Brenda Night Gallery episode. Um, would you be interested in doing that maybe next time?
Which one you want to do?
Well, I was thinking about hold on. Yeah, okay. Here it is. It is I'm trying to figure this out. I don't have my fucking shit in here. I don't have my physical media version of it in here with me. But it says this particular episode is Midnight. Oh, it's season 2, episode 7. It's Midnight Never Ends in Brenda. Do you remember Brenda?
Yes, I got to see this stuff.
Girl. Remember, Brenda had she's a little girl that nobody likes on the island, and she ends up getting that creature trapped.
Oh yeah, I hated that kid. Oh my god, she was obnoxious. She trapped the monster in the
Yeah,
pit,
yeah,
and because she had no friends and nobody liked her, and you can see
yeah.
why if you watch the episode why no one liked her.
I love that episode. The one right before it is Midnight Never Ends. You remember that one with the hitchhiking Marine gets
Oh
picked up, and
yeah,
then they go to that bar or whatever.
yeah,
Or or there. I mean, there's tons of good ones. Brenda's just one that I thought of. There's also Green Fingers, which has Elsa Lanchester in it.
and Cameron Mitchell.
Yes, that's a good one. Another one is the Caterpillar, which is basically an earwig.
Yeah, that's probably the most disturbing episode with Lawrence Harvey. That's probably the most disturbing episode of the series. I don't care. Anytime a bug gets into your ear and goes into your brain and lays eggs, that scares the hell out of me, man. I don't care what psycho is running around with a machete or a pitchfork. A bug in the brain is there for me.
For those of you guys who haven't seen that, I won't give it away why, but he earns that earwig. And it's a really good episode. It's one of those ones where you know what I mean. You got a really bad guy in it, and he ends up not paying for his bad deeds in a very horrible way. But yeah, there's so many of them, man. We did the movie to begin with. This is another one with just 2 episodes, or this right here only took us about a half hour. We could even maybe find one with 3 on it or something sometime or whatever. But that's something that we can talk about about doing next. What I love about the Brenda, do you remember when her dad is yelling at it, and he's yelling at his wife? He goes, "What are we gonna do?" He's like, "What are we gonna do?" Oh, Jim, he screams, "Jim, what are we gonna do, Jim?" When the creature comes in the house and shit, because Brenda fell in love with it. Basically, I mean, I won't talk about it too much for those who haven't seen it, but that's a really fun episode, man. There's so many of them that are so good.
That was a good episode, and they did a great job with the creature effects in that episode too.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing they didn't pay a lot of attention to is that kind of thing there, because back then it just wasn't hammered out completely like it is now. That wasn't the whole point of the episode. You know what I mean? Making them look perfect wasn't the point. The point was what you was left with at the end. There was always a message and a mystery. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what they put their focus on, was the message and the mystery. There's a lot of good shit. Season 1 or 2 are both good. Like I said, I didn't care for 3 as much, but here we go. Here's a list of all of the season 2 episodes. I found it. Okay. There's God damn it, I can't. More about okay. Here we go. Ooh, listen, I got our episodes. Here we go. God damn it. Come on, phone, work with me. Yes. Season. All right. Yes. There's episode 1 that we did, and that had those 3 episodes. Here's the next one. It's the Dead Man. And then there's the Housekeeper, Room with a View, a little black bag. You remember a little black bag, don't you? With Burgess Meredith.
Yeah, Burgess Meredith and Chill Wills.
Yep.
They find a
Wow.
bed, and Burgess Meredith wants to help people, and Chill Wills wants to make money.
Yep. Make Me Laugh. You remember that with the black comedian?
That's I know his name.
Yeah.
But I know Tom Bosley's in it too from Happy Days. I forget.
Yep.
I'm gonna, I'll remember his name once. Once we're off the air, then I remember. I know he was in another movie I liked, but
Godfrey, no, Jackie
Godfrey,
Vernon.
yeah,
Godfrey Cambridge.
he was in another movie called Gravedigger Jones and something else. It was one of those black exploitation films, and he was great in that movie. I always liked him, but he was the one that what the hell's his name? The guy did the voice of Frosty the Snowman is in it too. He plays the genie.
Yes. Yeah. That's Jackie Vernon.
Jackie Vernon.
You also got Clean Kills and Other Trophies, Pamela's Voice, Lone Survivor, The Doll. That's a fucking creepy looking doll. They're tearing down Tim Riley's bar. The Last Laurel. Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes. That's got the young Howard kid in.
That's a good one. With Clint Howard and Bernie Kopell from The Love Boat.
Yep. And you got a couple of the quicker ones like The Phantom of the Opera and you get The Hand of Bogus Weems, Death in the Family, The Merciful, Class of '99. Is that one with Vincent Price in it? Yep.
Yeah, he's a professor. That's a good one. They have. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, like the first two seasons are great.
They are. Yeah. It's too bad they couldn't do that like 5 times in a row. Would have been great. Imagine if we had 3 more seasons like that. A Fear of Spiders. With John Astin.
That's a good one.
Yep, that is fantastic. Yes. Solid Slow, Secret Soul, Question of Fear. There's a couple of them in here. The Devil is Mocked. Where is that? There's Midnight Never Ends in Brenda. The Diary and a Matter of Semantics. Big Surprise with John Carradine.
Oh, that's a great one with that's when he tells the kid to go in and dig up a hole. Yep. I don't want to rooms out there. I ruined the Big Surprise, but that's a creepy one at the end.
That's got one of the younger Van Pattens in it.
Yeah, I think it's Vincent, and he went on to be on in Rock and Roll High School with PJ Souls.
No, that's actually his brother. Well, yeah, he was in Rock and Roll High School, and he was also in Hell Night. With the boy. Yeah,
that's I think Dick Van Patten was his father.
Yes, from Eight Is Enough. Yes, and his brother played the punk ass in Class of 1984.
Yeah, and he also was in Timothy Van Patten. He was in The White Shadow. He played Salami, and then later on, he directed episodes of The Sopranos on HBO.
Also, Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah.
Let me see. The Dear Departed, Pickman's Model, Keep in Touch, We'll Think of Something, The Dark Boy, Hell's Bells, Dr. Stringfellow's Rejuvenator, A Midnight Visit to the Blood Bank. You remember that with that's funny. House with a Ghost. Now, some of the ones I really loved, because I really enjoyed, man. I can't remember her name. It had her in them. She was in a lot of the episodes. Joanna Pettit. She was the long blonde hair. Remember, she was in like the second episode of The House, whatever. Where she keeps driving up. She keeps driving up to the house like real weird and eerie.
She's a really I believe she's still alive too.
Really? Damn.
Yeah.
And that's good Chivalry. Cool Air, Camera Obscura, Quotes the Raven, The Messiah on Mott Street, Painted Mirror. That's got Zsa Zsa Gabor, I think, in it. Yep. The different ones. Tell David. Pagoda's Heads. Green Fingers. There it is. With fucking Bride of Frankenstein herself. The Funeral. The Tune and Dance Cafe. Lindemann's Catch, The Late Mr. Pennington. I mean, a Feast of Blood, the Murder. I mean, you could go on and on, man. You
I
go
forget
on.
the title of the episode, but there's one with vampires and Nazis.
Yeah,
With the
yeah,
that's my top. That's one of my top 5 ones because the Nazis come in and they think they're gonna have a field day, bullying this royal family, and
yeah.
little do they know they're walking into a vampire's den.
All right. Yeah, yeah. What was your thoughts with like the ones that would last just like 2 minutes? Just the ones that were pretty much for a comic relief. You know what I mean?
Oh, I like that they had one with Adam West playing. I think it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Then they
The one
had
with
one with
Cesar
was that
Romero's in one too.
the Blood Bank with Cesar Romero. He plays the vampire. And then they
Mm-hmm.
had the one with Agnes Moorehead and Ruth Buzzy,
Oh yeah.
where they were playing these ugly witches, and they were trying to make a meal, and then somebody came back with takeout. So that was kind of a funny one. Those were the lighthearted ones that were meant to um maybe cheer you
Yeah.
up a little bit after a crappy ending.
I loved Agnes Moorehead, dude. I loved her. Dawood. She's also in oh, no, what is that? Oh my god, the Bat.
The Bat with Vincent
Jimmy.
Price. She's actually the main character. She gets
She
she gets
actually
more.
talks like that. You know,
Yeah.
she's great. She's also in another Night Gallery episode called "Certain Shadows on the Wall." Remember, she dies and her shadow stays there.
Yeah, that's the other one that's the one with uh Grayson Hall from Dark Shadows is one of the sisters, and the
Okay.
brother's reading to her upstairs, and then she passes away. But
Yep.
the brother's a doctor, but he's also you gotta watch out for him. He's crooked and he's shady, and
Right.
he actually tries to kill the other sister. But at the end of the episode, you see her shadow and his shadow, and she's sitting in the bed, and he's
Yeah.
reading to her still.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, because we do I don't know, maybe we could even like I think we would have time. We got through that quick. I mean, I think we had time to maybe even do a couple each, man, and still be under an hour. You know,
Yeah.
we'll,
Because don't
we'll
forget,
figure.
these episodes are some of them are 22 and 27
Yeah,
minutes, so it goes by pretty fast. So you can
yeah,
definitely do 2 or 3 in a night.
hell yeah, hell yeah. We'll figure that out for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stream. What I was doing before the start at 7 o'clock was basically a memorial stream for a friend of mine and a guy from the horror community passed away a few days ago. So that's what I was
Oh,
doing.
sorry for your
I'd let
loss.
you know. So what I was doing was I re-uploaded um, a watch along that I had done with him when I first met him. When we first met and became friends, we became friends during that stream, during that watch along, and had a great time doing John Carpenter's Christine. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to play that, just to kind of cheer everybody up and make myself feel better, and it
Yeah.
kind of worked. So yeah, we ended up all feeling a lot better. It went really well. So that's why I was a little bit later. So I apologize for that.
Oh, you don't got to apologize. I mean, going to a tribute, a memorial is very important.
Yes, it really did mean a lot to me. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, um, I didn't think about that, but once I looked at how long it was, because like I said, I downloaded it from because it's one we did 3 years ago. So I just watched the watch along that I did with him 3 years ago. Um, and I didn't realize how long it was. It was a little over 2 hours. So it started at 7. So I mean, I was going to be late. So I said, "Damn, can I do it at 9:30?" So yeah, it ended up working out, man. And I appreciate it, and I had a great time with this. But hell, we need to make it a little longer, man. That went way too fast.
Yeah, well, we didn't know how short it was going to be, but now we know, so I mean, like we could even do 3 or 4 in a night. You do 2 and I do 2, and we
Oh
can
yeah,
do it that way and have fun with it.
cool. Cool. Are you are you free? Like, say sometime next week? Doesn't have to be Friday. It could be during the week. It doesn't matter. I don't have a set schedule anymore because I don't do lives very often. This is the only lives that I do. Other than that, I record a show That's basically what's called extreme grindhouse theater, which is about 70s grindhouse films and shit. Other than that, I'm working hard on that Fulci documentary that I work on that night or day or just whenever I feel like it. So whenever you might have a night next week, man, I'm game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm free. You want to do it 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night? I'm there.
Cool. But by 9 o'clock, say Wednesday or Thursday.
That's fine.
Cool. That works for me too, man. Hell yeah, I had a great time with this, man. Um, hell yeah, we made that shit look easy, man. Because it's not like a chore. You know what I mean? These episodes are so fun and they're so nostalgic that it's a pleasure to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I never mind talking about stuff that I watched when I was a kid growing up, and
All right.
reruns and stuff like that. And it's fun to go over these shows, and I've seen them all so many times,
Right.
that you got to memorize and everything. And it's like going back and watching these shows now, and a lot of these actors are all gone. It's like going back in a time capsule and seeing all these wonderful actors, these character. Some of them were big stars. Like they had an episode with Mickey Rooney in it. Mickey Rooney was a huge star at one point. And then they have some
Yeah.
character actors carried the episodes. And so I just thought this was a fun show to do
Hell
because
yeah.
it needs more light to it. Because everybody knows about the Twilight Zone. They play it to death on 4th of July and New Year's Eve, and it's always on TV. But the Night Gallery is a show that a lot of people still don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a little more that do now since it came out on Kino Lover and different stuff like that on Blu-ray, but there's still not nearly enough. Like Twilight Zone is a household name.
Yeah.
Night Gallery's not, but it kind of deserves to be. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's my preference of the two. Whether it's better or not, it's better to me. But don't get me wrong, I like Twilight Zone a lot, and I respect it a lot. But Night Gallery is what I remember as a child. Man, it was all over the place because the age I am, I was born in '73, so it was still playing all the time. You know what I mean? It wasn't new ones, but it was still new enough to where it was still on the rotation. So I can remember in the mid late '70s seeing them. But some of my first memories is Night Gallery. That very first Night Gallery movie, I remember seeing that thing. It's one of my very first memories. That oh fuck, Carrie and shit like that from '76. So it's like yeah.
The movie
But
was the movie was the first time I ever saw the show. And I didn't know it was part of the show. I just thought it was a movie when I first saw it as a kid. I didn't know it was part of the Night Gallery. I just thought it was a
yeah.
3-part movie, like like the Amicus films with stories interlocking.
Yes, for a long time I thought it was just a cemetery with Ron McDowell because that one seemed to be a movie like when you were a kid.
Yeah, that's the one that stood out to me because I was always a
It's
Roddy McDowell
good.
fan because I grew up watching the Planet of the Apes films, the classic ones in the show.
Yeah,
Um, but that episode with the great Ozzie Davis too. I
exactly.
love it. That's creepy. That episode.
I know. And that in that one also has another one I like a lot. We talk about Tom Bosley. It's got Tom Bosley and fucking Joan Crawford. The very first thing that Stephen King ever directed was the episode called Eyes, or not
Yeah,
Stephen King, Steven Spielberg.
yeah. That was with Tom Bosley donates his eyes because he owes money to
Gambling.
bookies. They're gonna kill him.
Yeah,
And
that
Barry
got him.
Barry Sullivan plays the doctor, and
Mm-hmm.
Joan
Corrupted
Crawford
even.
plays Joan Crawford plays a real
Oh god.
bitch in it. You know,
Oh,
and
she gets hers though, man. Oh my god, can you imagine? Wait, all your life would you be able to see, and then while you can, there's a blackout and you can't see shit, and then just as the lights are coming up and everything, your time's up because remember the doctor told her she may have 12 hours.
that's like a cruel joke. Um, you know,
You had it coming. You had it coming.
yeah,
Yeah, in a way, because that's a weird role for her. Because I mean, you can see why she could be shitty, and at the same time, you can see why she'd be willing to pay that much just to see for 12, 13 hours. but she's such a bitch that you don't like her, but at the same time you feel for her. She's been blind her whole life, and that would suck. Period.
Oh, of course. I mean, like, to see things that you've never seen before, being blind like that, and then all of a sudden you're going to see everything that you want. And sure, it's only for a day, but and then it's like all she gets is a couple of seconds of the sun
Yeah.
coming up, and that was it. And that's horrible.
So and he ended up paying too. Yeah, he got to pay off the bookies or whatever. But he talked about how he was going to kill himself anyway. So they can leave you the idea that he probably killed himself. So she took his eyes and paid all that money for his eyes and had no remorse at all for taking his eyes for absolutely nothing. For
Yeah.
nothing. She gained nothing from it. That's just dumb. That's you talk about ending. Now that is that is the biggest example of a perfect night gallery ending that I think I've ever seen.
That's great writing. And like I said, anything Rod Serling was connected to is amazing, because that guy was a genius.
Oh, he was, and he had no top lip, but he just in that gallery. You know what I mean? You got this in the paintings. That was so creative. That was such a smart idea, man. That's something I would love to collect, those paintings. That they sell like replicas of those paintings, same size and everything.
I would love to. I would love to have some of them, because some of those were great. And I just thought of another episode. I think it's called the Red Velvet Ropes.
Okay.
It's a boxing one with Chuck Connors, the rifleman, and Gary Lockwood. And I should have picked this. Is my top 5. I forgot. I just kicked it in my head now. Gary Lockwood plays a boxer who just wins the championship, and he's the heavyweight champion of the world. And then he gets taken to this mysterious place. It looks like hell, because everything is red. I mean, everything, the furniture, the phone, the ring, everything is red. And Joan Van Ark from Knots Landing is in it, and Chuck Connors. And Chuck Connors plays that he believed to be the real champ. And he says, "You're not the real champ until you fight me." But the thing is a twist. If Gary Lockwood wins, he's got to take over for what Chuck Connors is doing, taking on all comers to the end of time.
Yeah. That's one that a lot of people don't talk about. Another one that a lot of people don't talk about that I maybe they don't realize it's a night gallery episode or something, is one with Leslie Nielsen in it, where he wears a pack and he stays in that haunted house for the night. Yeah.
That's one with a messed up ending.
That's back before Leslie Nielsen. See, a lot of people don't know. A lot of younger people don't know that Leslie Nielsen, prior to doing The Naked Gun and Police Squad and shit, he didn't do comedy shit like that. He did serious roles.
He was in the Forbidden Planet. He was the captain in the Forbidden Planet.
Yep, absolutely.
He was in this other cool movie called Project Kill, where he's like a CIA guy on the run from CIA. They're trying to put him down. It was the movie Airplane.
Yep,
that turned him into a comedy legend after that.
He didn't know he had it in him either, but the lines they give him, it's his delivery, man. It's like just wanted to say, good luck, we're all counting on.
The most famous is when he says, "Shirley, you must be kidding." He's like, I'm deadly serious, and don't call me Shirley. I mean, that they took that. I know we're getting off topic, but the Airplane, they took all these serious actors, Leslie Nielsen and Peter Graves and Robert Stack, and they give these guys these hilarious lines and scene. Lloyd Bridges. I mean, God, I picked the wrong day to quit smoking, and I picked the wrong day to quit drinking methamphetamines, and sniffing glue.
Shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Don't forget about Barbara Billingsley as the old woman that knows how to talk jive.
Yeah, from Leave It to Beaver as the mom. And what about the photographer? He goes, "Come on, boy." The writers, "Come on, boys, let's take some pictures," and they take the pictures off the walls.
Right. What about the line of people with all the weapons that are trying to calm that chick down, and they're fucking got ball and chain and everything else? They don't line them up, fuckers. They got dudes with guns, everything else they're gonna fuck her up with. No, come on, you got to calm down. The nun comes up.
Nah, that's an iconic scene. One of my favorite scenes is when Robert Stack is coming to save the day. He's going to talk the plane down, and they're playing this cool military beat. And they're walking in, and the guy goes, "Hey, support Jerry's kids." And he starts hitting everybody, and Jews for Jesus. He's hitting everybody, and he's flipping them over his back. And I love that scene. That scene is that scene just cracks me up. Now I'm going to watch this movie. I'm going to have to watch Airplane pretty soon because it's going to be in my head now.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the iconic voice, man. Unsolved Mysteries.
No, God, yeah. And the Untouchables. He was the original Elliot Ness.
Right. Wow, yeah, I forgot about that. Damn. Yeah, it sucks when we have to lose people like that. You know what I mean? Because those are irreplaceable. People like that are. But luckily, we have them on film. So, hey guys. But thanks everybody for joining us. Much appreciated. We'll have a couple more episodes that we can review next time. But hopefully you enjoyed this. And hey, man, I enjoyed doing this with you again, man. It's been a long time. You haven't been. We haven't done anything together since the trivia tournament, right?
We did the trivia where I did a come from behind the first round, and then I got my ass kicked in the second round. I just couldn't. I couldn't get anything. I think I got like 2 right though, and I forget the guy I was playing against, but he just killed me. He was good.
Well, hey, man, that was a horror tournament, and my questions were most of my questions were not easy. So I mean, you got to the second round, man. You beat a horror guy in the first round. So
I'm good. Like if you go 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, once you get into maybe like the late 90s and the 2000s, I get lost because I don't watch anything new anymore. I'm behind. I'm stuck in time. I just watch classic now.
Yeah, there's a few films that come out now, horror and non-horror. Every now and then you get a really good one, but usually, I mean, I can tell you a couple of really good horror movies that's come out the last couple of years that you'd probably, I mean, that are great. But other than that, you pretty much get the same thing. They're pretty much trying to repeat the same thing. They want to make remakes. Everything's either a remake or a sequel of something 30, 40 years ago. And it's like, come on, man. If people back then would have thought like that, we wouldn't have any of the classics that we have now.
Yeah, I mean, like, it kills me though. They do a remake or a reboot, and then they tell you it's the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah.
And they did it with They remade Walker Texas Ranger, right? Which I think that should be a sin. I mean, Chuck Norris is Walker Texas Ranger, and they put this other guy from Supernatural, and he doesn't do any martial arts. I never watched it, but this is what I heard. He doesn't do any martial arts, and he whines about this girl, that Chuck Norris never whined about on the show. Chuck Norris knew the girl liked him, and that was good enough for Chuck. He got her because, not because he pined her, because she wanted him. But this guy was like crying over this girl. So
Chuck,
I mean, I was like,
nothing, man. Chuck never whined about anything.
Yeah, Chuck Norris. Like I remember one episode when the guy goes, he went to get a bottle of water, and he goes, "Do you know how many bottles of water there are?" And Chuck Norris goes, "Yeah, 1 tap."
Yeah. Do you remember Silent Rage with the big bar fight? And and the fight gets over there, and the head guy of biker gang says, "This ain't over," and Chuck Norris says, "It better be," and he fucking meant that shit.
Chuck Norris has some great lines, just like in Invasion USA, when he goes, "If you come in here, I'm gonna hit you with so many rights, you're gonna be begging me for a left."
Yeah, man. There was a thing on YouTube a couple of years back. It's back, well, it was more than that, actually, several years ago. You know how they'll have the fake deaths on there where they say somebody died. And I thought he had died, and I was telling people about it, and they were getting all upset and shit. And come to find out that it was one of the. I learned a big lesson that day.
Yeah, I hate when they do that. It's like Chuck Norris just got done climbing a mountain at 85. He just got done climbing some mountain. So I don't think Chuck's going anywhere anytime soon.
That's supposed to be one of the top things you're not allowed to do on YouTube is clickbait, and every motherfucker just about does it. I've never clickbaited ever.
Yeah, I hate when they do it. I can't stand that. And they do that with William Shatner. Even on Facebook, they're like, William Shatner has died today. And no, he didn't. And it's like, stop.
They did that with Sylvester Stallone a year or two ago too. Jesus Christ, come on.
Yeah,
Come
I
on.
mean, yeah. So I mean, you have nothing better to say than talk about great actors and personalities dying when they're not dead.
Yeah, they just want those clicks so they can get paid, man. Like I've got over 1,000, and I'm not even monetized. I don't want to be monetized because I don't do it for that. It would change the way I have to do my content and everything. I would have to clean myself up, and I can't censor myself, man. I'm just how I am, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
my channel would just get in trouble if I got monetized.
Having a channel is hard work. That's why I don't have one. So I don't. I mean, like Marty from the Trash Picture Show. He's always telling me, and I love Marty. Marty's a great guy. He's always telling me you should get a channel. And I'd rather be the guy that comes on once in a while and has some fun, some laughs, and then says goodbye. And and that's kind of like I like to kind of like to be. And it's hard to do the it's hard work and to carry a show. It's
you want all the fun and none of the headache. You gotta get a shirt that says that all the fun, none of the headache.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm all about having the fun, but no headaches.
No bullshit. Yeah, and it is bullshit, man. A channel can be fucking trying at times. Some of the most stressful times I have ever had in my life was after I got this channel. I don't regret it. Don't get me wrong, but damn, it has been trying. Some of the people you have to deal with can really be interesting.
I respect people that have their own channels, and especially the ones that have it for like a long time. Like I said, it's to build up a following.
Yeah, that can be hard.
You got to be interesting. You got to like I don't know, if I had a channel, I would attract mostly older people because I only talk about classics. I don't do new movie. I don't talk about like on Facebook or Instagram. I don't post anything new. I post like mostly older stuff, classic kung fu flicks, classic movies, classic action movies, classic horror, classic sci-fi. It's all classic, or it's classic rock. That's all I do, and I don't really talk about the I don't even know what's going on in with the new stuff these days. I haven't watched anything new, and I can't remember the last newer movie I watched.
Like I said, there's a few newer horror films. There's one that just came out that I just watched. It's called Weapons, and that was pretty good. I'm sure you've heard of The Substance. That's good. That was that new thing with Demi Moore. It's body horror, kind of like
horror. Okay, yeah. Now I heard about that.
So fucking good. It is so fucking good.
I did hear about a movie. I think it's called Him. Yeah. I just met her. Her name is Lady Sasha, and she's got a channel too. And she was telling me because it's football related. I'm a football fan, so she told me that this movie. I think Marlon Wayans is in it. He's the star, and he plays a football player that wants to hang on, and so that I might give a try. That I will give a try because I'm a Wayans Brothers fan, but I'm a huge football fan. So she said I would get the references. I guess people complain. The only people that complained were the ones that didn't get the football references.
Oh, are you a Giants or Jets fan?
I'm a Dolphins fan. I live in New York. I live in New York, but I root for the Florida team. Well, everything else is New York here. Mets, Knicks, but for football, it's always been the Miami Dolphins since I'm a kid.
Oh, I bet you was pissed when the Knicks couldn't get past the Bulls back in the '90s. The Bulls were my team. You and I would have had some interesting conversations.
Well, yeah, that was those Bulls teams were great teams. And now I used to be a Celtics fan first, when they had Larry Bird and Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, and then when all those guys retired, I fell in love with the Knicks Patrick Ewing and John Starks and Charles Oakley. So I started, and of course, by the time I followed them, here come the Bulls, and they were unstoppable back then.
Knicks almost those top Bulls teams a couple times, almost.
Yeah,
they come closer than the teams from the West in the finals. They came closer than them. They're the only ones that took the Bulls to a Game 7, I do believe, during their big era. I think the Knicks are the only one that took them to a 7.
Well, the one year they made to the not what the one, but one of the years they made to the finals against the Spurs. That was the year Patrick Ewing got hurt, and and he was gone. He was done for the
Jordan was
playoffs.
playing baseball, right? That's when Jordan was playing baseball, I think, right? Well, wasn't it?
I forget what year that was. This was like this was the late '90s, I think, early 2000s.
No, because the 2 playoffs that Jordan didn't. Jordan didn't go to the playoffs that first year because he didn't play at all. Those 2 years that the Bulls didn't win, the Houston Rockets won.
Yeah, well, the Rockets that team was loaded. They had that was a great team. They had a great bench too.
But we can have some other conversations about this, obviously, man. I was into it then big time. The Raiders are my football team. I don't know why. No matter who they get or who they get as coach, they still can't get their shit together and win fucking games. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, I remember when the Raiders were the Raiders. When you were afraid to play the Raiders, like you didn't want to go into Oakland, the Coliseum, and face that because they had guys that would put you out. Jack Tatum and Lyle Alzado and Howie Long and Ben Davidson and those guys. Mike Haynes and Lester Hayes at cornerback. Those guys. That's when they were hitting you. And you were feeling it. The hits those guys were doing are illegal now.
The one thing that kept a lot of those Madden Raider teams from going to the fucking Super Bowl was the Pittsburgh Steelers and that steel curtain. That's the only thing that was in their way, man. Terry Bradshaw and them, fucking Jack Lambert, yeah.
Well, there's a reason most of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. Terry Bradshaw,
the whole goddamn defense is, I think.
Yeah, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Mean Joe Green, who's just and then if you look at the offense, Franco Harris and Lynn Swann and John Stallworth. I mean, Rocky Blyer. Well, Rocky's he's in the College Football Hall of Fame, but that team was stacked.
Yeah. That's the only thing that got in their way. It wouldn't have been them because a lot of times it was those Steelers versus the Cowboys at that time. It would have been the Raiders and the Cowboys. So the Raiders would have a couple more Super Bowls than what they have now. They won finally in '83. They won 1 or 2 in the '70s with Kenny Stabler, or was that Jim Plunkett?
Well, Kenny Stabler in the '70s, Jim Plunkett in the '80s.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Biggest shame I ever seen was Bo Jackson going down, man. Oh, bummer.
Oh,
but
if Bo Jackson didn't get hurt, Bo Jackson would have been in the college. Well, he's in the College Football Hall of Fame. He would have been in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and MLB Hall of Fame. He was. I mean, he was doing stuff that. I mean, I remember the time he made the catch and he ran up the wall like Spider-Man. Like no one's done that before or since. And he used to break the bat over his leg or over his helmet. And football
over his neck even. He'd bring it back here and snap it behind his back of his neck.
Yeah, and then in football, when he took Brian Bosworth into the end zone with him, I mean, he was people don't realize what a star he was, and he was actually outselling Michael Jordan. They even did a commercial where Michael Jordan and Spike Lee tell Bo Jackson to calm down a little bit. Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, because that was the era where he was doing the Mike whatever Spike Lee was, and you can't do that or some shit like that. Yeah. But yeah, man, Bo. What happened to Bo was he was burning his candle at both ends too much, man. He was doing too much. He wasn't taking the time off and resting right because remember that was during the Bo knows where he was playing baseball, and when he wasn't playing baseball, he's playing football. So he was going constantly, and it was just too much, man.
Yeah, at one point, he was talking about getting into golf.
Freak athlete, man. He was a freak athlete.
Yeah, people don't realize how great he was. And if you go back and check the tape, oh my God, you never see anything like him.
Yeah, he only got to play like 2 or 3 seasons, and one of the seasons I think he had fucking close to 2,000 yards. Him and Barry Sanders were the two best. Barry Sanders would be all-time leader if he'd played more seasons. The ones that are ahead of him played several more seasons.
Yeah, he quit because I don't think he wanted to break Walter Payton's record.
Well, plus he
Mr.
knew that he wanted to win a championship, but he didn't want to leave Detroit, and he knew Detroit was never going to put together a championship team. They never got a good quarterback or a good offensive line or anything while he was there. That's why he constantly had to run around and shit, because as soon as they hang him the ball, they were chasing him.
There was a time where the Miami Dolphins wanted Barry Sanders. They were trying to make a deal, and Detroit would not let him out of his contract because he put the fans in the seats. And at that time,
that would have given Marino his Super Bowl they never got.
At that time, the only thing they needed was a running back. The defense was starting to get better because we had Marino, but we had no running game. So I mean, and Marino just kept passing and passing, which he's great at. But you got to have a run game to protect the lead.
That'd have been perfect, because that's about the time when they got Keith Jackson at tight end. So that would have been perfect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Marino, Keith Jackson, and Barry Sanders together. Oh my God.
And plus the two whiteouts, you got Clayton and Duper. Yeah. Hell yeah, man. We could have some serious conversations on this. I can tell already. But I think I'm gonna go rest for a little bit. I appreciate you joining me, and we'll definitely do this next week, man.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, man.
Hell yeah, anytime, man. Anytime. Guys, thanks for joining us. I'm gonna go rest. I've had a busy ass night here. I'm drained mentally and emotionally. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks a lot. That is Joey Macoll, and I am Gloraphobe, and you are not. Have a great evening, guys. Later on, man.
See you later.